Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Pride Chronicles. I am your host, Kiki, and today I will be sharing with you how I met my girlfriend. Now, before I do that, I would like to just point out something that I missed in last week's episode as far as representation for people like me. I identify as a Black lesbian cisgender woman. I previously dated men exclusively up until 2 years ago. I do not consider myself bisexual because currently I only date women. I only find women attractive, and that is what I'm interested in. I'm also what can be considered a femme, but I have my tomboyish ways as well, if that makes any sense. So I just wanted to kind of put that out there and just say that, yeah, I want to see a little bit more representation of us and what we go through, our stories, our walks of life out there. Like when I first started dating women, I didn't see a whole lot of people that looked like me with information on what it would be like to date women or anything like that. Now there's TikTok, and there was TikTok back then too, but it wasn't as informative about the lifestyle. So I had to kind of learn on my own and figure things out as I navigated this relationship. Being that I was newly into this community, I didn't have a whole lot of friends that were LGBTQIA plus. I do now, but I didn't when I was starting out. So it was a little bit of a learning curve on my journey. So now I'm going to dive into the story of how I met my girlfriend. I met her in the typical way you would meet anybody, online. I met her on a dating app. I think it's a pretty popular dating app, if I do say so myself. There are a lot of different spectrum of women on that app. I came across her profile. Her profile was what I was looking for in a person at that time. So I liked her profile. Didn't think anything of it. Went on about like my day or whatever. I happened to check the app on this particular day, and we had matched. So we started chatting. It was an immediate connection. When I say immediate, like we spent maybe 2 to 3 hours texting back and forth in the app before we were like, let's exchange numbers. I'm feeling you. So after exchanging numbers, we began texting each other, and the conversation just flowed. It was like we would text back and forth all day. The text messaging progressed to voice notes. The voice notes progressed into phone conversations. Now, let me just pause right there. I was totally fine with the text. When it got time for that phone call, oh, baby. When I say my heart was pounding out of my chest, I was so nervous to talk to her over the phone. Why? I don't know, because we had already been talking for a few weeks through text and voice notes and all the things, but I was still so nervous to talk to her like live. I guess that would be the term for it. And the conversation continued. She is super inquisitive, so she asked a lot of questions, which was great conversation starters, great to get to know one another and just vibe. So throughout the getting to know you process, I think it's time for us to meet in person. That added another layer of like, OMG, I'm going to meet this person in real life. Not for 1 second did I think like stranger danger or anything of the sort. I was super comfortable with meeting her. Actually, our first date was an escape room. We decided to do an escape room. Who does an escape room on their first date? Us. And we set up the date. It was for a Friday, early afternoon, probably like 11:30, 12, something of that nature. It's like early afternoon. We met at the escape room, and I saw her for the first time in person. I was like, yo, she is so beautiful. Immediately got butterflies and so nervous. And she's super tall. 5'10", 5'11". I'm 5'2". I'm a shorty. I was just like, yo, I love that she's tall. So we go into the escape room. We check in. They put us in our room. They tell us we had, I think it was like 45 minutes to an hour to escape. Now, the pressure is on to win the escape room. And not just win, but to communicate so that we could win. We are just going through the escape rooms, figuring out the clues. It was fun. It was so, so fun. We wind up escaping the room, so we won, and we laughed and talked about that on our way out. It was just such a good time. We were like, yo, we killed that. Like, that was fire. So we decided that we still wanted to hang out. We got lunch at a nearby Asian restaurant. We chatted some more. She had just returned back from retreat in Colorado. So she brought me back some souvenirs, a t-shirt and a bag and just some cute little things that she purchased while she was on her retreat. And we're just talking and just vibing. I said something to the waiter while we were in conversation, and she was just like so feisty and was like, yo, just get her what she asked for. And I looked at her like, oh, okay, girl. We laughed about that. We talked some more, and that was it. That was the end of our date. We said our byes. We no kissing yet. We didn't kiss at that point. We just gave each other a hug and got in our cars and drove off. When I think back to our first date, it was such a good time. It brings back so many fond memories of our first encounter. Sometimes even I will go back and read some of our messages from very early on in our relationship because it's just nostalgic. It reminds me of where I was when we first met. And by the way, we met 2 years ago. We met in 2022. So it's been a journey thus far. And I will go through our milestones as we progress through the episodes, right? So as we continue on this journey, I will talk about some of our milestones, some of our conversations that we had throughout the 2 years that we've been knowing each other, and give you some insight into my thought process and how I navigated some of those spaces, good and bad. So as I wrap up this episode of Pride Chronicles, I would like to express my sincere gratitude for tuning in. Remember, the journey doesn't end here. Keep seeking knowledge, keep asking questions, and keep listening. Until next time, bye.